Hello and welcome back to Mazuri Gardens. After last episode's technical issues where I lost all of my files after half a day of editing, I've now created part 2 of this build. If you have not yet seen part 1 of this ultra realistic entrance build, then I will link it on your screen now. I will see you back here very soon. Welcome to all of you that are sticking with me. So since I first planned this build to be showcased in a longer episode, you're currently seeing some of the footage of where we got up to last episode. So as you already know, last episode we built these kiosks, and we're going to be duplicating these, and I made a really nice basis of a plaza which we will basically be theming all the way through this episode. Just quickly, if you do enjoy this episode and you would like to support the channel, liking this video and also subscribing if you are new would be greatly appreciated. Also comment down below if you have any questions, I love to answer them all. So I wave goodbye and pass you over to the past me. I managed to recover all of my audio files luckily. I will see you later. So we're going to now move into kind of the plaza area of the build. This is quite a big jump in time really, as at this time I've built and duplicated the blueprints that I'd made and I'd arranged them how I wanted, and now it was time to make an archway. So thanks to Shiftsy again, he made something very similar to this. I didn't think of how to make this, but this is quite a good way of making an archway, just using all of the pieces just like that. And then we've sunk it down and added some pillars, and then also raised and duplicated it up so we can get some more bricks in there to really add some colour and just variation and contrast into this archway, as this will be where most of the guests walk through in my park. Again, using the adventure pieces there, you can see those, and then obviously we've had to duplicate onto the other side so it all looks nice and symmetrical as you walk through. So we quickly get on to some skills of mine. It was really testing my skills, making a circle in Planet Coaster Console. We tried to make a sundial on the ground, which was really nice because, as I saw earlier on a Facebook group today, lots of people are attempting to change their paths up and skin them so it looks a bit different. And I've tried to do these Roman numerals and used all of the basic shape pieces just to sink them down, and it was really difficult to make sure that they didn't clip. But we got there in the end, and we've added some nice shiny pieces on here. It's like bronze, and we've got the teal turquoise colours on here as well. If you don't know how to do all of this circle movement, definitely have things in a line, multi-select them and group them, and then you can turn them around and then you get a perfect circle most of the time if you have your axis set right. And then we move on to foliage. We're just really theming the outside of the buildings now, and we've just tried to make it all green, not tried to add too much, as in the blueprint I didn't want it to be too bad for your parks, as I know different people, if you're doing a pirate park for example, you might want to have palm trees, and maybe if you're doing a Christmas park you might want obviously your Christmas trees. So I've tried not to add too many features which wouldn't fit in lots of parks. So I've used quite basic trees, just some really rough bushes. I've obviously kept to the colour scheme of this kind of area. It's the orange and the teal. It looks really nice, and when I lit it, it looked even better. So just minimal really. Tried to add some rocks in as well. Just really tried to make it as realistic as possible. From there I just sorted out some of my pathing areas which didn't have any pathing. I didn't use too much grid pathing in this, so I had some to sort out. Certainly when you path this, if you want to use it in your blueprint, I'd recommend trying to stick to where I have placed all of these different things. And I'll talk about if you want to use it as a blueprint later, as there are some tips which I would recommend, and I'll talk about those at the end of the video. So as you have already seen, we're already moving into the real-time look and finishing off this build in Planet Coaster Console. So I'm so happy with how it has turned out. You've kind of got some cinematic views here, as you can see now, and I've tried to get some guests flowing through this area. Obviously there's already people in my park, so I've added a vendor just at the back, which you can't see, and there's guests roaming around. You can see they're looking at the billboards and things there. It looks really, really realistic, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. One thing that I haven't really touched on is all of the roofing. I've just used normal pieces because it was going to be such a big build. I didn't want to custom build it, but I have added some trim onto it with all of the planks. That looks really good, and obviously I have kind of themed it up with the trim and turned around fences. I'm just trying to give you some good views here of all of the different components to this build. I really like all of the different things that I've done. It was kind of a checklist of different things that I wanted to do in Planet Coaster Console. So a bit more of a real time. I know the cinematic is just for show, but we'll go in and we'll have a proper look now of what I've done. So you can see the big building at the top. We've themed that all up. You haven't seen the time lapse for the top of that building because storage was running out. That's how much I was building, so on my USB stick. So we've got the top there. I've just used normal pieces there, added some clocks in, sunk them down, and then we've got the park name. I'm definitely going to make a custom font for Mazuri Gardens for there, but if you want to do this blueprint, then I'd recommend you adding your name there if you can't do that. So we'll go into the channel's name, and it's Plipcam. Thank you to that lady there for letting her use and change her identity. So we'll run around here. You can see from eye level as it's meant to be seen, really. The rest doesn't really matter, to be honest. But you can see here the really nice sundial. I've added some more teal colours in there. It was all kind of bronze to start with, but it really wasn't tying into the rest of the park, so that had to be done. And then you can see the archway, there's gates. I've added some trim to those gates, like locks and chains. And then I've added some murals, the plants that we got in the World's Fair DLC. These are kind of midway kind of buildings because they're just in the archway, just for a bit of show. If I was going to put some interiors, I think it would be those ones. Certainly if we got when we will get the studio pack. I've done these queue lines. I'll show you how I've made those in a minute. But I had to add a queue line just for each one of these different buildings, and I've tried to cater for all kind of different people, disabled people and people who don't have bags. And then there's a look at all of the pieces there. As you can see, we'll zoom in and you can see all of the different pieces. I was really proud of this area. It does look really good, and I just wish that the clipping wouldn't happen so often with the lighting, which has kind of bugged me in this game and certainly in this build. Really came to my attention. Even though the lighting in this game is very good and it's really nice and ambient, it can get in the way sometimes. So I wanted to just give you an overview of each of the buildings. You can see we've got all the planks sunk in there, the basic shapes. We've added some security cameras. All just comes together really nicely, and I could definitely see this being kind of like real life. We've got the luggage with the bag check, please be ready, and we'll have someone sat on like this seat here that you can see. That's just for them to rest on, so they can walk around there. These beams for the roof, I had to hold it up, and they're 3 different kind of beams, and I just had to do that just to make it look irregular and some piece that we've never seen before. So we pan across. Obviously you can see there, as I've demonstrated, the different buildings, and I've also used some cones just to add in that you can't go into the staff area, so that's fenced off and coned off there. And then there's the see you soon sign. So maybe I'll just quickly comment on if you were going to use this as a blueprint. The sign, obviously you've got to sync that, and I'd recommend zooming in so that you can see in there. Zoom in there and you can bring the sign out. The paths along the edge, there are benches in the planters. Definitely put your paths along the edge. Use interest points so that the people can interact with the info boards. And then the path, I'd recommend it going over the sundial, left and right to the triangle piece. That will look really good. And then disabled access, you can also put a 4-meter path through there. If you have enjoyed this video, I hope you have enjoyed this video. We'll just have a little bit more cinematic here. I've really enjoyed building it for the creator, which is he's now put it in his building. Probably my best building ever. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe to the channel. You'll see some more videos related to you and my previous videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.